Good afternoon to all of the participants from the different universities. A very good afternoon to you all. So, as we are here to demonstrate the financial supply chain management system, basically, in the financial supply chain management, there are three parts. First is the budget, second is the bill tracking, or we can say it vendor management, third one is the accounting. So, basically, these three pillars integratedly make the financial supply chain management of a higher education institution. So right now I'm just sharing my screen and let's discuss the budget part first. I will be demonstrating to you how budget can be raised within the higher education institutions and how the allocation process will be done accordingly, and after the allocation how the appropriation process will take place, and after the particular these functionalities how various reports can be fetched, or what will be the various reports which will be fetched from the system accordingly. So after that budget part, I will be just going to the vendor part, and then after vendor, we will be just discussing the accounts part. So let me know when my screen will be visible to you. Please, Mamta, just let me know when it will be visible to you as
Sure, sir.
well. Is my screen visible to all?
Yes, yes, sir, it is.
Okay, thank you. So basically, first I'm just logging into the portal by using the demo credential, as it is a demo portal. After logging in, you will be able to you will have to go to the finance part, or in the finance part there will be a financial supply chain management uh, card. So in the financial supply chain management card, dashboard is here. So by clicking on the dashboard, we are here at the financial supply chain management system dashboard. So there are several settings. Yeah, we are just going to the main settings, and the main setting is of the financial year. So we can just create the financial year for which we are just going to start the financial supply chain management system, or we can say we are just starting the budget, or then on the basis of that budget we will be starting the bill tracking system or vendor management system, and then we will be checking the accounting on the basis of both. So to add the financial year, just click on this button, and we need to define the name for the financial year, like I'm just giving FY 2023-24. I have just given that. You can see here is the financial year, and after then code. So in the code as well, when you are just going to just select the code, the 2024-25 will be there, and start date of the financial year, then end date of the financial year, and revision date. So generally in the center government higher education institutions, budget are being revised once. But if there is any provision of revision more than once, then it can be also catered by the system accordingly. We can select multiple revision dates as well. Now tentative audit date can be also mentioned here. Then status active, and last field set is the archive status. So this archive status is the most important field set here in this add financial year part. Basically, every field set is important, but it is the most important. Why? So I'm just explaining the purpose of this archive status here. This archive status shows us that whether the financial year we are just creating will be used in the next financial year, or we can say that will be used in the current year. If the For example, right now we are in the 2023-24 financial year, and suppose I just want to plan my next financial year. I just want to take the estimates from the departments within the higher education institution for the next year. So I will have to put the archive status yes. Till this archive status is yes, the department or the units within the higher education institutions will be able to raise the estimates only. They will not be able to use the budget part. they will not be able to use the budget part for the bill tracking system, or we can say vendor management system, or we can say bill processing system. So this is the importance of this archive status here. And if I'm just putting the archive status no, or after planning, I will have to put the archive status no to use the particular financial year, to use the budget added in that particular financial year, to check the accounting for that particular financial year. So this is the most important setting here. So after this setting, you can see the accounts button here in the end of this. In the accounts button, we can just create the account books. So in the account books, I'm just clicking on the create account, and in the creating account, I'm just giving the account book. Suppose I'm just giving the account book to a particular department. So many institutions right now, almost all the institutions right now practicing basically the central accounting system, or we can say that central accounting is being done in the higher education institutions. But if there is a specific cost center, or we can say there is a specific unit for which the specific accounting needs to be done, so we can just create the separate account book for that as well. And what is the significance of this account book? For example, suppose a university, or a high and education institution has more than one campus, and accounting is being done separately for each and every campus. So we need to create two account books, one each for one for each campus basically. So by this way, we will be able to manage our accounts, and we will be able to fetch the data centralized as well. So we can just basically we can just create as much as account book we want to create, and we can manage the accounting centrally. Or if we want to manage the accounting in a distributed way, then we can just manage the accounting in a distributed way by creating each account book for each department. So that can be done in the system as well. So to create the account book, first the name of the account book need to be done. Suppose I'm just giving a account book to a chair. And I'm just selecting the organization unit. So I'm just giving the name to this, and financial year is being selected itself. So I'm just giving the main organization unit. So as I have taken the example of the higher education institutions which have more than one campus, suppose I'm just selecting the South campus here. South campus, one here. So all the child units of this particular university, basically in the case of higher education institution, all the child unit will be visible here in the applicable organization unit slash project. If it depends on the selection whether I'm just selecting the university or project. So the significance of this project slash university significance of this project slash university filter is like if I'm just doing the accounting for the university purpose, then I will be just selecting the university. Or if I'm just doing the accounting of the projects running within the university, then I will have to select project. So right now I'm just selecting the university, and here you can see these two are the child of the this particular organization unit. So I'm just clicking on IIC right now. And accounting type, system is capable to deal with both type of accounting, whether it is accrual or cash. As we are aware, and friends from accounting backgrounds are aware, that there are two bases of accounting, that is the accrual and cash basis. So in the accrual basis of accounting, we can consider the projections as well, whether the projection is in the expenditure, whether the projection of the liability, whether the projection will be of the asset, whether the projection will be of the income. So we can just deal with that. In the cash accounting, we just do the accounting when the value or amount exchanges the hands. So basically, it is the main difference between the accrual and cash accounting. I will be just explaining this difference when I will be diving when we will be diving into the accounting part as well. Right now, I'm just selecting the accrual and the currency. Currency of accounting is the rupee or dollar. I'm just selecting the rupee, and status is active. So by this way, I will be able to create the account book. Currently, as of now, I have created the account book for the IIC, so I'm just creating the account book for art faculty and saving it. So I have just created the financial year. I'm just rewinding the things in the settings. I have just created the financial year, and in the financial year, I have just created the account book for the university. So we have just created this particular financial year 2023-24. I'm just clicking on this particular financial year. You can see that I have just created this account book, and you can see there are other demo account books are also available here. So two accrual account book are there, three cash account book are there, and all are of the university. So right now I have just configured this account book, and I will just going to explain that how I have configured this account book. So basically, I have created the financial year. Then in the financial year, I have created the account book. Now I am just going to create the head subheads categories which will be used in that particular account book, and how we will be able to use those masters in the account book. So now I'm just going to the masters here. By clicking on the master, there are six type of masters. First is tags. How tags will be used? Basically, tags will be used for the reporting purpose. For example, suppose I have a file on my table and I just want to give a specific identification to that file. Then what I can do? Then I can just put the tag sheet on that particular file, and I will put some tag name on that particular tag sheet. So in future, if I just if I will be in need of that particular file, then I just go to the file section and just select that file, or take that file with the tag that I have written on that particular tag sheet. So exactly the same function is of the tags here, and we will be tagging the heads or subheads, and then if we need the report on the basis for those particular tagged heads or subheads, then we will be able to fetch the report accordingly. So by this way, I'm just creating the tag by clicking on the add tag button. So we can just give the category of tag, whether the tag is for funds, whether the tag is for bank, whether the tag for other purpose. So right now I'm just selecting other, just giving the name test. Putting the description as test, status active. So I have added a tag. Now coming to the next master, that is the budget category. So basically, for the different aspects of accounting, we can say the attributes of accounting, which are uh, assets, liability, income, or expenditure. There are several budget categories defined within those attributes. Basically, there will be an equity as well. So equity is not used here because we are just doing the accounting for the not for profit organization. As we all are aware that central universities or central higher education institutions are the not for profit organization. So we can just start with the expenditure categories. So as per the definition by the central government, there are three expenditure categories, that is OS 31, OS 35 salary, OS 31, OS 35 or OS 36. Basically recurring salary or capital. So we can just configure those categories in the budget categories, or we can just create the other categories for a different type of, like different type of attributes. Like for income we can just create another category or categories. For assets we can just create another categories, or we will be able to create categories. So like this way we will be able to create the categories for all the attributes used in accounting. Right now I am just creating the category for the expenditure head. So by this way, I will be able to create the category. So after creation of the category, I am just going to the next master, that is head subhead master. So to create the head or subhead, I we will have to define that the head belongs to which statement. Right now there are four type of statements, but for the university accounting, only two type of statements will be used. That is income expenditure and balance sheet. So I am just selecting the income expenditure statement here, and I'm just selecting the nature of head subhead, that is the expenditure, and I'm just defining the class whether I'm just going to create the head or subhead. If I'm just going to create the sorry head, then it's okay. If I will be selecting the subhead here, then I will to just give the name, code, tag, category, and then parent head as well. So to create the subhead, parent head should be created before the subhead. So right now I'm just selecting it as head. Basically, I'm just keeping the accounting as on the till the head level. If you want to go to the subhead level, then it can be support. It will be supported by the system. So we can just create the heads as well as subhead. But in the case, if I'm just creating the head, the amount of the value will be in the head. The estimate will be raised in the head itself. But if I'm just creating the head and then I'm just creating the subhead, the only head which will be created and estimate is not raised in that head will be used as the parent head of any subhead. So by this way, or if any head will be just used as the parent head of any subhead, then the estimate will not be raised in that particular head. Estimates will be raised in the subhead, and the combination of those estimates or those allocation will be the attribute of head combinedly. Basically, heads will be the subset of the sorry subheads will be the subset of the head, or we can say grouping of subheads will be the head. So right now I'm just creating an expenditure head here. As I have told you how I will be able to tag the heads or subheads, here we have just created the test tag, and I am just selecting it. I have created the category as well, that is the expenditure category OH31 ECO. Now I'm just giving the description for it. Carry to next year, and whether the carry to next year. The this field set has a significance relevance or significance importance here. We can say why this field set is here, because generally in the expenditure head we do not carry forward the balance to the next financial year, but for the assets and liabilities we need to carry forward the balance of recent financial year or the current financial year to the next financial year. So that's why this carry to next year functionality, or we can say filter, is here. If I am just keeping it yes, then it means automatically the particular balance uh, till the 31st of till the end date of the financial year will be carry forwarded on the first date of the next financial year. So by keeping the estimate applicable yes, means I am just enabling this head to be used for raising the estimates by the units of the departments, or we can say offices within the higher education institution. If the advance applicability filter is yes, then it means the advance payment can be done from this head. If I'm just keeping it no, then advance payment will not be done from this head. And by keeping the status active, I have just created the expenditure demo head. So by this way, I have just created the tags, budget category, head, subhead, master. Now coming to the bank details. By clicking on the bank detail configuration button of the bank details, basically all the bank accounts are the current assets of any higher education institution. So when any institution or when I will be just going to create a bank, then current asset head will be generated automatically by the system. Why it is so? Because when we will be just doing the accrual accounting, and when I will be just doing the payment of any bill, then Basically, one entry goes to the credit side of that particular current asset head, and one entry goes to the cash book of that particular account book, so that we can just reconcile the system with the bank reconciliation statement provided by the bank. How it will be done? Basically, receipts will not be there. So accrual interest receipts will be need to be added by the institution. Then only the system will be reconciled with the bank reconciliation statement in the real time. I will let you know when I will be just explaining the receipt concept in the demonstration part. So to create the head, just click on the add bank details. Bank name will be there, account number will be there, IFSC code will be there, branch name will be there, opening balance will be there, and status will be there. So basically, opening balance will be the balance of that particular bank account, not that head. Okay. So in this way, we will be able to just create the current assets. So now I am just going to, as I have just created a banks already. Now I am just creating the vendor type. Vendor type will be like a registered vendor or non-GST vendor or any type of just tagging can be given to the vendors here. And I can just click on the add vendor type, and then I will be just selecting the status here. Now coming to the approval hierarchy. What does this approval hierarchy mean? Basically, this approval hierarchy will be for the departments of the units of the offices, organization units within the particular higher education institution. And how it will work? Basically, suppose I am a just department and I will have to raise the estimate. So I have raised the estimate. So after raising that estimate from my side, that estimate will go to that particular head of the department, and then that particular head of the department will check that particular raised estimate, and then that estimate will be sent for the further approval. So basically, this flow can be defined here. How it will be defined? By clicking on this create approval hierarchy button, we need to just select the particular OU ID, or we can say we can just particular OU and the default authority. What is the functionality of this default authority? Basically, the default authority will be the authority if someone from verifier or approver is absent and there is some emergency situation to send that particular raised estimate for the further processing, then this default authority can do so by logging into the system. So we can define that as well. Then here we can just define the verifier, and we can define as much as verifier we want. So after the verification from the last verifier, it will go to the approver. We can just define the approver as well. For example, basically in some institutions or in some state education institutions, the budget estimates raised by the departments goes to the VC. Then VC will approve, and then allocation will be done by the finance officer. There are some kind of arrangement or exceptional arrangement in some higher education institutions, so that can be handled by this particular hierarchy system. So by this way we will be able to make as much as verifier we want to make, and the same for the approval, and status will be active, then the hierarchy will be at place accordingly. I have made a hierarchy, I am just showing you that as well. You can see for the department IIC, I have just made the hierarchy, and in this hierarchy, I have just given that particular for the department IIC, the default authority is this, the verifier, first verifier is this, second verifier is this, third, and the first approver is this, and the second approver is this. So by this way, we will be able to define the hierarchy. So after these configuration, I am just going to map the created configuration to the account books. So I'm just going to the university test account book, and in the account book settings, I need to just map the category which I just want to use. You can see that in the particular financial year FY 2023-24, and in the particular category, that is the expenditure category, I just want to use it, and I'm just keeping it active for that particular account book. Again, I'm just going to the account book, and in the setting of the account book, I'm just mapping the subhead or heads here. Basically, there may be more than one heads or subheads in a particular category, so those can be mapped accordingly. Here I'm just selecting the head I have made, that is the expenditure demo head, and all the details which we have given earlier is available here. And carry to next year, I have explained the field set. Estimate applicable or not, I have explained the field set. Revision date, I have explained the functionality and status here. Now the new thing is the opening balance applicable. So this opening balance is the has the importance here, significance importance here. So it is significantly important because suppose some institution wants to use the system in the mid of the financial year, then this opening balance will be the closing balance of the recent day from when recent day of the date from when the institution wants to start or institution wants to implement the system for the expenditure heads basically. And for assets and liability heads, this opening balance this opening balance will need to be entered there in the system to keep the flow of the accounting consistent. So we can just click on this button, then two field set will be there, that is the credit opening balance and the debit opening balance. If there is any value in credit opening balance, then debit opening balance will be zero and vice versa. So by this way we will be able to just provide the opening balance. Second thing we will have to take care that here we are just giving this opening balance for the complete account book. Complete account book means, suppose in an higher education institution there are more than 10 departments, we can say 10 departments are there in the higher education institution, and all those 10 departments are using expenditure head, that is, and the accounting is central. So the closing balance of all the departments combinedly will be entered here. For example, department 1 has 100, department 2 has 200. This way, department 3, 4, 5, 6 has, department 10 has 1000. So the total of those will be entered here because we are just giving the opening balance centrally. So this way, I will be able to do the head subhead mapping and just saving it. So head subhead mapping has been done accordingly. Now going to the particular financial year and particular account book. Here I'm just going to the budget estimates. So this part is for the departments, how they will be able to raise the estimate. This particular estimate tab will be visible to the particular department role. As we all are aware that it is a role-based system, so the particular FSCM department role will be given to the representative of a particular department who will be responsible to raise the budget in the different categories and in the different heads under the different categories for the respective department. So to raise the estimate, just click on this particular arrow button. As this is a demo portal, we have just tested and we have just raised the estimates here. To request the budget, just click on request the budget. When the department representative will click on this request the budget, then organization unit field set will be filled by the respective department name. As of now, right now I'm just doing the things from the admin user. So all the I have just configured the system for the IIC as I have just shown you. By clicking on this IIC, I am just telling that for this particular financial year and for this organization unit and under this category, the category we have made, I just want to raise the estimate because there may be more than one heads or subhead uh, in under any category. So you can see that we have given that for the particular department IIC for the particular financial year under this particular category, and the budget estimate will be verified by this person, and the allocation will be done by this person. So now how I am just putting the budget breakup in that category, by clicking on the budget breakup button, I'm just adding the breakup. So you can see I'm just adding the breakup under this category for this department. I'm just selecting the head we have created in the master. I'm selecting the currency. I'm just putting the estimate amount in the currency. And estimate amount is automatically being populated as we have put the amount here in the field set. Then overhead applicability, by clicking in those by clicking on this particular overhead, if the overhead is applicable, then it can be entered here. And opening balance applicability, as we have just given the combined opening balance while mapping the head to that particular account book. So suppose in this particular account book there are several departments, so now we need to put the opening balance for this particular department or this particular unit. And I'm just keeping the status active and submitting it. By this way, the draft has been created to raise the estimate. And after checking the draft whether everything is all right or not, or if there is need to do some rectification, by clicking on this button, we will be able to rectify the raised estimate or which is in the draft yet. And if we just want to submit it to that particular verifier, then we need to just click on this button, and after clicking on this button, the estimate has been raised accordingly. Now I'm just going to the different tab, and I will be just logging from the particular verifier. So you can see that here in the financial supply chain management, I have logged in with the IIC 2000 Senior Technical Assistant 2000, which was the verifier visible there. And by clicking on the dashboard here, clicking on this, I going to this particular account book, budget estimate section in the particular expenditure category OH, and I'm just clicking on this budget breakup. I can see that particular breakup, and if everything is all right, then I am just going to review. And if everything is all right, then I can just put the no query and selecting the date and then remarks. And I will just send it for the approval. If I just want to send it to back to that particular department representative, then I can just select the query raised and return to that particular department. And if I will be just going to the click the save button, then it will be sent to that particular department for the rectification. Again, after the rectification, it will come to that particular verifier, and after the verification part, the verifier will be able to send it for the approval. So I'm just clicking the no query and saving it. So now I'm just checking it that this has been done. So this particular person has reviewed this with the status no query and forwarded to this. So right now I'm just going to log into this account here because it is the second verifier. Again, going to that particular part, particular account book, and then estimate part. So going to the budget breakup. So it is particularly here, and it will be just submitted, and remark is okay. So I have just left the query, so that's why it is showing here. So by this way, it will be just approved by the particular representative, and then after the particular approval, it will be visible as allocated, and we will be able to check the allocated expenditures by this person as well. I'm just showing that. You can see it has been approved. So it has been approved and the allocation has been done accordingly. So by this way, we will be able to approve the estimate and allocate the amount basically. So we can just check each and every estimate for the category, and we will be able to just allocate the amount after the verification by the verifier. So this way we will be able to just approve and allocate the budget So this is all about the budget management part, and I'm just letting you know that how the reappropriation will be done. So we can just do the reappropriation as well by clicking on this button. Here you can see the budget transfer functionalities here. We can just create the budget transfer request from which one category to another category as well. So I will be able to do the budget transfer, which is called reappropriation. So we can do that as well. So by this way, we will be able to manage both the all the functionality, that is from raising the estimate to verifying the estimate and allocation against that estimate. Then particular, if there is need of any reappropriation, that reappropriation can be done accordingly after the prior approvals by the competent authorities. So there are logs as well. So all the logs will be captured in the system accordingly. Reports as well. So budget estimation report can be fetched, transfer report can be fetched, category head and subhead mapping report can be fetched, and expenditure report can be fetched for any sort of interval of time. So this is all about the budget part of the financial supply chain management system. So if any of the participant has any question, then floor is open for the question and answer. Am I audible?
If any university has any question, they can raise their hand, and we can take up the questions one by one.
Hello.
You can also unmute your mic and ask the question. If any university has any doubt or query related to budget and accounts.
Okay, then let's move forward to the next part. That is the bill tracking system, or we can say vendor management system. I'm just sharing my screen again. So as we have just allocated the budget, and right now we will be able to use that particular budget for the expenditures. So I'm just going to the particular part, that is the vendor management system. So as system is role based, so there will be a different roles for the different functionalities. First functionality is the person who will be raising the bill, so we can say who will be creating the bills. And if there is anyone who within the department who is checking the bills, then we can just do the give the role vendor bill creator and vendor department verifier. And if both the person are same, that who is creating and verifying the bill, then we can just give the role of vendor department to that particular person, or to the account of that particular administrative account of that particular person. So the administrative account with the vendor department role will be able to raise the bills on the behalf of the department, and those bills will be processed accordingly. So how that process will take place, I'm just going to explain. By clicking on this proceed button in the vendor management system, we will be at the particular interface of the vendor bill and employee bill as well. Particular interface of the dashboard, which depicts the vendor bill and employee bill as well. So here you can see the purchase orders. So the purchase orders can be added here accordingly, and those purchase orders can be sent for the approval by creating the approval hierarchy, as we have created in the budget management as also. We can do that as well. So here before starting the system, we need to just configure some settings. So here 11 settings are visible. So basically in 11 settings, Basically, in 11 settings, I'm just clicking on this first setting, that is the manage procurement procedure. So we can just create the procurement procedures which we will be using to do the procurement. So we can just create the procedure. Add This is a add and save setting. So we need to just define the procurement procedure head and then status, keep the status active and then save. So we can just save the particular procurement head like this way. And now again going to the setting here, application declaration is here. So we can just edit the application declarations which will be used by the users with the different roles. First application declaration is of the vendor declaration in the system. If any institution or university wants to send the email to the vendor for the verification of the parts of the bill which is being processed, then it can be done from the system itself. There will be a link in the email of that particular vendor will be able to click on that link, and after clicking on that link, vendor will be able to see the particular part of the bill which has to be processed. So vendor need to give the approval or consent that yes, everything is okay, then only a bill will be proceeded. Here we can just define the date. Suppose I have just defined the vendor default timeline of 3. It means from the creation of the bill and after the email is received in the inbox of the vendor, that particular link will be activated for till 3 days only. Now coming to performer to the billing assistant declaration, when the particular vendor department will be just sending the bill for the further approval, this particular declaration will be there. Again, the particular third, when the particular allocation, the approval of payment will be done, then this particular declaration will be there. We can just edit those declarations. We will not be able to add any another declaration. So this way we will be able to just configure the application declaration part. And here is the vendor max row index as well. It is by default 100, but if we just want to see the bills more than 100 on our interface, we can just click and edit it as per our usage. So going to the third setting, that is the manage text method. In the manage text method, we can define the taxes which we are just uh, paying to the vendor on different invoices. So we can just define it accordingly, and in future if there is any change, excuse me. Yeah, thank you for excusing me. So here we can just uh,
We are having
here,
some doubts, sir. Hello. We
uh,
need to ask. We need to ask some queries, sir. Can you
okay.
answer? Can you answer,
Yeah.
sir? Sahil ji,
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
here from NITTR Chandigarh, we have some queries. Kindly answer, sir.
Okay.
So I'm giving to my account officer. Kindly.
Please proceed.
Said that we are paying the taxes to the vendor. We are not
Okay.
paying taxes to the vendor, but we are deducting and paying it to the government.
Sir, I'm just coming to that part as well. I'm just talking about the taxes which are mentioned in the invoices, and you have just asking about the taxes we are deducting. That is the TDS, CGST, SGST 1%, and any another deduction. So basically, I'm just explaining the tax methods which are mentioned in the invoices, because we need to just keep the record of paid taxes as well, or we can just withhold those taxes uh, to be paid after the verification of that GST return by the vendor. so that the it will comply with the compliance of the GSTs, and vendor will be compelled to pay the GST. So I'm just explaining those tax methods, and regarding the deduction part, I'm just coming on the that part in the further demonstration. So is it clear? NITTR Chandigarh, is it clear?
Clear, clear.
Okay, so I think we may proceed to the demonstration. So here we can just define only those tax methods which are mentioned in the which will be mentioned in the invoices, and which we need to pay, which we will be paying to the vendor only. I'm not talking about the deduction. I'm just talking about the tax methods like different slabs of GST. So if there will be any change in any slab, then we will be able to just create the another slab. So now just uh, coming to the fourth setting, that is the deductions. We can just define any type of deduction here, like TDS deduction, TDS 2%, TDS 10%, or CGST 1, SGST 1, IGST 2. So we can just define any type of deduction here, labor cess deduction, security deposit deduction, or we can say GST withheld deduction as well. Why GST withheld deduction? There are so many states or so many institutions which are practicing a particular practice to compel the vendor to pay the GST. What is that practice? That practice is there is a GST return in invoice return portal, GST invoice portal, where we can just check the invoices, uh, the taxes in lieu of the invoices by the vendors. We can check that as well on that portal. So when we are just in talks with that particular portal owners to integrate that as well in the system, but right now that can be manually done as well. So some institutions are practicing like they just withheld the amount of GST of the vendor. So every business needs to pay the invoice within the 3 months, needs to pay the tax in lieu of the invoice within the 3 months. So after the 3 months, those institutions are checking whether the taxes has been paid in lieu of the invoices supplied to them or not. And if those are supplied, then they just pay the withheld amount to that particular vendor. So we can just define as much as deduction we want to define in this. So in the setting part, now I am just coming to the next setting, that is the bill type. Here we need to define the bill type, and in the bill type, first we need to define the vendor bill or employee bill. So that is as it is a demo portal, so there is two other type of bills as well, that is student bill or other bill as well. So student bill will be using to pay the student any amount, or vendor bills will be used to pay the vendors in different type of bills, and employee bill will be to cater the bills related to the employee, whether it is medical advance or any kind of advance basically. So bill type can be defined here, and description can be given, and the status can be given here as well. So this way we will be able to just define the bill types. As I have just configured a test bill type, you can see it is of the vendor bill, and test bill type is here, description is here, and status is here. So after that, I am just going to the next setting, that is the approval hierarchy. So we will be able to create the approval hierarchy based on the amounts. So in the gadgets or in the constitutions of the university, I am just referring the gadgets or the rules of the university as the constitution of the university. So as per the gadgets of the university, the roles and responsibilities are being defined accordingly. So to just comply this approval hierarchy according to the rules and regulation, we can just define this hierarchy on the basis of amount as well. As much as verifiers we can define, or as much as approval we can define, but the final approval will be done by the top order approval, means the order of the highest approval. So then the batch creator will be responsible to do the payment in lieu of that particular bill, or to record the payment in lieu of that particular bill or voucher. So by this way we will be able to create the hierarchy. So in the approval hierarchy as well, I have created some hierarchy. So for the test bill type, I have just created the hierarchy from 1 to this, and I can see this, that for this particular test bill type, the particular from 1 rupees to this much amount, or from the bills from this organization unit of department, default authority is this. That I have just explained the default authority. If there is, if the bill is stuck at anywhere and a particular person is absent, then in case of emergency, this default authority can act on the behalf of any approver or any verifier. So batch creator will be this, and the status, and then submit status is published. So this way we will be able to just define the hierarchy, and we will be able to manage the hierarchy within the institution. Now coming to the next now all the participants are kindly requested, please mute, so that I can demonstrate, and I can just give the demonstration with these, as it is so this way, by this way we will be able to manage the approval hierarchy accordingly. So now I have explained the significance of purchase order approval hierarchy. We will be able to just manage the purchase orders approval hierarchy, how the purchase orders will be approved and then will be attached with the bills. I will be just demonstrating it in the further demonstration. Now coming to the bill user OU mapping. In the bill OU user mapping, we can just define the bills, that these bills will be used by this organization units. How? Like I have just in the vendor bill category, this test bill type will be used by this particular user ID for this particular department, and the role name will be there. So I have explained these roles, that vendor bill creator will be responsible, the user with the vendor bill creator role will be responsible to create the bill. The user with the vendor department verifier role will be able to just verify the created bill, and this particular vendor department verifier will be adding the giving the input, that in which head of under which category this expenditure expend if it is expenditure, this expenditure need to be recorded here. Coming to the vendor department, this vendor department can combinedly works for this particular two roles. So by this way we will be able to do the mapping, and the mapping can be done accordingly. Now again coming to the settings, so here is the mapping bank account with the batch creator. While explanation of the hierarchy, I have just explained that particular batch creator will be responsible to do the payment or to record the payment. To do the payment, if the bank institution is higher education institution is doing the payments by using the checks or by using any online method, then that particular payment will be done or recorded accordingly. If it institutions are general institutions are doing the payment from the PFMS, so the PFMS transaction number can be put here so that the accounting can be done accordingly. So by this way we will be able to do the we will be able to map the bank account with batch creator. You can see that the batch creator will be the user with the batch creator role will be visible here by selecting the username and the user account and university bank account or higher education institution bank account and the status. So after this mapping, that particular batch creator will be able to see that account and will be able to use that particular account for the payments or to record the payments, and those and the cash that particular batch creator will be able to check the cash book as well and reconcile the cash book as well. Receipt will be taken by that receipts can also be taken by that particular batch creator, and so that the bank reconciliation will be with the system, and we will be able to just check all the reconciled cash books within in the end of the financial year, so that the accounts can be account sheet, or we can say balance sheet can be made accordingly. So now coming to the next setting, that is the nature of receipts. We can just define the nature of receipts here. What type, what nature of the receipts will come to the institutions, and what are those receipts. So we can just define those as well. So next setting is the pay detail setting. So in the pay details, basically this particular setting is for the employee bills only, and specifically if I say medical bills, as we know that pay bills, we can just add the pay details which will be visible to the particular employee if the employee is just applying for the medical bill. So employee will be able to see the pay details, because institutions are paying the bills to directly to the institutions, sorry, directly to the hospitals or medical institutions. So that's why add pay detail option is here, and it will be visible for the employees in the medical bill specifically. So this way we will be able to configure the bill tracking system, or we can say vendor management system. And right now I'm just showing you how departments will be able to raise the bills and how they will be able to clear the bills. So by clicking on this manage bill button, this manage bill is for the vendor bills, and manage employee bills for the employee bills. All the procedures are same for the vendor and employee bills. Hierarchy, configuration, all the procedure is generic for both the bills. But interface is different, and in the interface as well, basically the structure of the invoice of the information is different. So I'm just clicking on add bill. Basically, the department's user with the role that vendor department will be able to do this. As I'm just using the admin ID, so that's why I need to select the department. Otherwise, the department will come in a phased to the particular user from the respective department. So bill approval hierarchy type, we have just defined the bill. Here, if I just want to attach the purchase order, then I can just attach the purchase order which has been created in the system, or otherwise I can skip the purchase order. In the financial year as well, I can just select the financial year. Then in the vendor details as well, vendor can be added in the system, and all the vendor details like vendor ID, vendor type, vendor name, official email, office email, and office contact number, office address, GST number. If TIN number is available, then TIN number, PAN number, account number, and beneficiary bank name. All the details will be visible to that particular vendor department user with the vendor department role. So if I just want to skip the bill details, I just need to pay the type of payment, refund amount, or payable amount. But if I just need to add the bill details, then if the GST is applicable, yes or no, then right now I'm just keeping it yes, or we can just keep it no as well. So type of the payment, there are three type of the payment, as we all are aware, that is the part payment, final payment, or advance payment. Right now I'm just doing the advance payment. I'm just giving the bill number or invoice number, selecting the bill date, selecting a file to upload, and I'm just keeping the bill amount without taxes of rupees 1,000. Applicable tax which we have defined in the manage tax methods in the settings. Total tax here, and total tax amount is 90. So the invoice amount is 1,090. Right now I'm just deducting the deduction, that is of the test 2. Total deduction percentage is 15. I can just keep the 2 deduction as well, or as much as deduction I want to do. So it can be done. Total deduction is of 15%, and total deduction amount is 150. If so, in the coming to the advanced reference number, we can just adjust our advances against the final payments as well. So there are the three cases in which we can just do this settlement, and this settlement can be done accordingly. So those three cases are, if the advance amount is greater than the invoice amount supplied to us with the institution, if the advance amount is equals to the invoice amount, if the advance amount is less than the invoice amount. So in the case where advance amount is greater than the invoice amount, then refund, the vendor will be liable to refund the rest of the amount to the institution till the receival of the receipt. Basically, we will not be able to process the invoices. First, vendor needs to submit or vendor needs to deposit that account in the higher education institution's bank account. Then only we will be able to move with this particular type of adjustment in which advance amount is greater than the invoice amount. Now coming to the second use case, that second use case is the advance amount is equals to advance amount is equals to the invoice amount. In that particular use case, if advance amount is equals to the invoice amount, then advances advances can be adjusted with the invoice, and advances will be just converted from the assets to the expenditure according to the accounting rules. So there will be no entry in the cash book, and no payable will be there because we have already paid all the all the amount, all the value. So the assets, because till the we received the invoices, the particular advances will be in the assets, and after invoices comes to the institution, that assets will be converted into the expenditure according to the accounting procedures. So second case can be catered in the system this way. And now coming to the third case, that is the advance amount is less than the payable amount or invoice amount. So in that way, the amount advance amount will be adjusted in the accordingly, and the rest payment will be done by the institution as simply. So right now, as I have not created any advance, so I am not selecting it. And if there is any another addition exempted from tax or TDS, then we can just give that as well. Refund amount is not there because advance is not there. So the payable amount is 940. So I'm just coming back, and I'm just showing you that we have just deduct the 150 rupees. So we need to pay this deduction to the government authorities. If I'm just going to approve this bill and paying this bill, then we need to pay this 150 rupees to the institution by the 7th of the next month. So basically, as you can see, the last date of verification is also 21/12/2023 here. So this date is for the vendor. If the link will be sent to the vendor, it is configurable whether institution wants to send the link to the vendor or not. This step is not mandatory, so this step can be removed of this on the request of the institution. So if the last date of the verification is here, and if the email will be sent to the vendor with the link, by clicking on that link, vendor will be able to check whether the bill processing has been started or not, and vendor will be able to testify the attributes mentioned there in the bill. And suppose if vendor is not just testifying its attributes, then there will be a declaration that till the date after the date of the this particular verification, all the attributes mentioned there in the bill will be taken as testified, and vendor will not be liable to go anywhere or to ask university to change the attributes in the bill. So basically, by clicking on the button, the bill will be created accordingly. You can see, and recent activities we will be able to check on which date this bill has been created accordingly. Now, vendor will be able to see this screen, and vendor will check each and everything accordingly. And vendor need to select the dates like date of supply of good and date of the acceptance of good, place of supply, and remarks if any, and save. This way, the bill will be submitted by the vendor, and after the submission by the vendor, the particular department representative will be able to check, and will be able to just keeping the things yet whether the services of goods are according to the bill or received invoice of bill, or we can say procedure of procurement we have just defined in the settings. Detail of stocks if any remark is there for detail of stock or not. So budget category, now these two field sets are very important which will be used for the accounting. So this budget category, right now I'm just selecting the budget category we have just created. I have just created a budget category. So you will be able to see the available balance in this particular head. You can see there in the red mark, and amount recommended for the payment is 940, and diary number I am just putting it, and the diary date. And I'm just giving the remarks test and declaration that we have just seen in the settings, and forwarding the pro forma for verification. You can see that bill is forwarded to senior assistant, this username and the name of that particular user who is operating that account. So right now I am just logging into this username by using that account. So this particular person will be the verifier according to the amount, and this particular person will be the bill approver. So right now I am just logging into the account of that particular approver. So in the finance and in the vendor bill tracking, this is the bill we have created, that is that ends with 0010, and it is of 940. So I'm just verifying this bill by checking all the attributes whether everything is okay or not. So I can just forward this bill for the further verification. If I just want if I need some rectification in the bill, I can just raise the query and just put the remarks accordingly, and return to that particular department, and I will be able to ask the upload as well to check the clarification. So if I just want to send it to the approval, send it for the approval, then I can just select no query and just sending it. So after this, and it is showing that bill is verified and sent for approval to this particular person designation with the username and the name. You can see all the recent activities here. Now going to the manage bills as well again. Sorry, I'm just logging into the particular account and going to the manage bills again. Will show you that how it will be approved, and then we will be just diving into the accounting on the based of the process we have just defined for the budget, and now we are just defining for the bill tracking. Going to the vendor management, manage bill part. Here you can see the same bill. Clicking on the view part, and by clicking on approval, if I just want to send it to the back, then I can just send it to the particular verifier from which I have received the bill, or the department as well. But right now I'm just giving the approval for it. Test this and submit. So basically this bill is being approved by the particular competent authority. So I'm just simultaneously now explaining the accounting. So how the accounting will be done on based on these processes. Basically, in the bill taking system, there are three events. First is significant events. First is creation of the bill. Second event is basically the approval of the bill. Third event is the payment of the bill. So accounting starts from the approval of the bill. So when any competent authority approves the bill, it means that particular organization is liable to pay that particular amount mentioned in the bill to the vendor. So basically, the two entries, as per the double entry accounting system, the two entries will be there in the account books. That is, one entry is the record of the expenditure, and the next entry is the liability from the organization to the vendor. So I'm just copying this particular number, and I'm just going to the report part. In the report part, I'm just going to the journal. In the journal, I am just putting this particular voucher number here, and we can see there are 4 entries for this particular bill, and I'm just explaining these 4 entries. So 940 we need to pay to the vendor. So this expenditure has been recorded, and liability has been created. Liability means the organization is liable to pay this much amount as it has been approved by the competent authority. So again here we can see 150 as we have just deducted the 15%. So you can see this 150 has been recorded, and the organization is also liable to pay this 150 to the authorities if the payment will be done for this particular bill to the vendor. So I am just going to the particular again that bill, and I will be logging into the bank batch creators login account and will be just doing the payment. So you can see here is the message that bill is approved successfully and sent to senior assistant for the batch creation. So right now I'm just copying this login account. So you can see that the bill which we have created and approved is available here. By selecting the bill, I'm just creating the batch for this. Basically, what is this batch list generation process? This batch list generation is the process in which we can just create the batch of the multiple bills, approved multiple bills for the payment in one go. So basically, if there will be 100 bills, then I will need to just create the batch of those bills, because those bills are the approved bills according, and the liability and expenditure record has been done and liability has been generated for those bills. So I will be able to do the payment in the batch. So I'm just clicking on this batch list generation. I'm just selecting the mode of payment is the check, and I'm just selecting the account university bank account from which I am just going to pay. Just clicking on the proceed. So this way batch will be generated. By clicking on the batch, I can just see the bills, and I can just check once again. If everything is okay, then I can just select the bills, and then I can just selecting it for the payment or to pay, record the payment. Proceed. I'm just putting the check number here. Remarks, amount. So this way I will be able to record the payment or to do the payment. Then I can just print the bank list as well. So in the bank list, I will be able to see that vendor name, vendor bank name, vendor IFSC code, vendor account number, vendor IFSC code, amount, check number from which, and the batch creator and batch created on, vendor email, vendor PAN number, vendor GST number, vendor address, vendor bill number, bill date accordingly, university account number, university IFSC code. So this, it can be modified according to the need of the university. If any university or higher education institution is doing the payment from the PFMS, then the PFMS sheet can be generated from the system, and that sheet will be uploaded in the PFMS, and the payment can be done. But the condition is that the vendor which will be added to the system will be added with the same vendor code. So basically, this way we will be able to do the things for the payment purpose. Now we have done the payment to the vendor only, but the deduction payment is pending yet. So I will just show you the accounting part based on this section. Then I will show you the how the deduction will be paid, or how we will just keep the record of payment of the deduction as well. Again, I'm just going to the reports part, and again I'm just refreshing this. You can see now 6 entries are here. Now 6 entries are here. In these 6 entries, what these 6 entries depicted here, you can see that we have just recorded the expenditure, liability generated, and the deduction expenditure recorded, the deduction liability generated. We have done the payment. the particular liability has been discharged, or we can say debited, and payment recorded. So the asset head has been credited. So this is the bank which we have used for the payment purpose. So this is basically the journal. On the basis of this journal, we will be able to just take the we will be able to just fetch the ledgers, and on the basis of that ledger, trial balance will be there, and on the basis of the trial balance sheet can be the help the trial balance will be able to help us to create the balance sheet for the higher education institution. The physical apart from that, the in the balance sheet, physical assets and the depreciations will be there. So right now, Samarth is also integrating that part in the system as well, and that is under the development. So after completion of that part, a tentative balance sheet can be generated from the system. So basically, I'm just going to explain the process to pay the deduction. Again, going to the report. So here we can see the check process for deduction part. I have just deducted the 50% deduction here, and I'm just selecting the date from which date to which date deduction is there. So you can see only this deduction is yet to be paid. By clicking on selecting this deduction, I'm just clicking the check creation, clicking on the check creation, and just selecting the bank account, and I'm just giving the check number from which check number by using which check I am just paying, selecting the check date. In case of security payment of security deduction, withheld the GST amount deduction, or any kind of deduction to the vendors, we can just select the vendor as well. Here we can see total amount of the deduction. We can just proceed. So right now I'm just selecting it no, and I will be able to proceed accordingly. So basically this process will be I think there is some network problem. I'm just again doing it. So the check has been created successfully, and now again going to the report part in the journal. Again just selecting that particular 10 number bill. Here you can see now the entries are 8 from the 6, and again you can see that liability generated in lieu of that particular deduction has been discharged, and the payment has been recorded accordingly. So on the basis of this journal, the ledger will be created accordingly. In the ledger, we can just select all, and we can just select the particular date, and we will be able to see all the ledgers here. And on the basis of that ledger, the trial balance will be formed. I'm just showing you that as well. Just a minute, I have just selected the So this way we will be able to see the trial balance, and you can see the debit side is equals to credit side. That means our trial balance is okay, and according to the compliances defined by the compliances according to the accounting procedures. So this way we will be able to just manage the accounting within the system, and apart from it, we will be able to fetch the deductions report, that how much deduction we have just done for in lieu of the invoices. We will be able to process the checks for those deduction. We can just check for the financial year how many unpaid deductions are available, and in the tax reports we can just check that how much tax we have just paid in lieu of the invoices to the vendor. So deduction is another thing, tax report is another thing. We can see the cash book as well. I'm just selecting this particular bank, and from 1st to 31st I'm just checking. You can see payments, there are payments on this side, and receipts are not here. We will be able to just take the receipts as well. I will show you that as well. So right now the closing balance is in the minus because we have not given the opening balance. So when we will be just giving the opening balance, so the cash book will come accordingly. So after that, we will be able to just check the bill reports for each and every department. We can just search any voucher where the voucher is pending. We can just fetch the advance report, or we can say asset report, that this much this much advances have been given to the vendors as well as employees. We can just check the receipt reports that we have received these things. And general report I have just explained to you. Ledgers I have just explained to you. Budget category wise report, if I just want to see that the expenditure budget wise, then I can just check that expenditure budget wise as well, and trial balance is here. So basically these are the reports, and the last four reports are related to the accounting process or accounting output. So this way our financial supply chain management completes here. But there are other attributes as well, like investment management of the investment, GPS, NPS payment as well. Those can be done after the configuration into the system itself. So because those processes are related to the payroll, so when the particular system will be configured in accordance to the configurations of the payroll, so those can be managed in the system itself. So that is all about the financial supply chain management part. And in the financial supply chain management part, I have explained you budget, then vendor management, or we can say bill tracking system, and then accounting. So floor is open for the question and answers for the respected higher education institutions. So please ask the question. Is there any question from any respected higher education institution?
Sir, sir, we have from Canvas.
Yeah, please.
Sir, the payable components we can be generated in bill section, sir. Bill.
Yes, sir. On the basis of the invoice, the payable can be generated in the bill section, add bill section.
No, same portal can be used for both, sir. Pay bill as well as bill section.
Sorry, would you please repeat your question?
Canvas.
Sir,
Yes.
சார் அதாவது பில் செக்ஷன்லயும் போட்டுக்கலாம், இதுலயும் போடலாம். ரெண்டு போர்ட்டல், 2 portals can be used, sir.
Sir, actually, I'm unable to get you. Would you please just write your question in the chat box so that I can answer it accordingly? Basically, bill section, the same portal can be used by the bill section, accounting section, and the payment section as well. It will be the same portal only. We don't need to exchange the portals because it is an ERP. So the same portal will be there. Only the different user privileges will be there with the role associated with the roles, and the same portal can be used by those users.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any another question from any another respected higher education institution?
In Canvas, we are having around 200 plus head of accounts, sir.
It can manage even 500 heads of accounts, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
For each account, for every account, they are having separate cash book, everything they are managing separately.
yeah, it can be if it can manage one bank, if it can manage one account, then you will be able to manage as much as account you want.
Finally, we have to generate the consolidated account for all abstractly required at the university level. For all accounts, we need abstracts of each and every transactions we made in the university.
Yeah, it can be done. The system is the role based, and you just provide the roles and map the accounts to those particular persons. So accounting can be done in the distributed way as well. So it's not
Okay.
a issue.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Sir, is there any option available for find out the how much amount has been paid to a vendor or employee for a particular period?
Yeah, that can be fetched from the bill reports. Bill report is there basically, and as per your concern from IGNOU, that bill report will be updated very shortly on your portal.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you please share the video recorded in the session?
Sure, sir. We will provide
Yeah.
that.
It will be useful for us.
Sure, sir. It will
Yes,
be
sir.
provided.
Please.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if any employee want to refund more than one time, then there is a provision is there.
We have just given the provision till the refund will not be completed, then invoice will not be proceeded.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Madhuri.
Hello.
Yes.
Actually, we are from Vishwakarma University. Actually, the video was very blurred in us. Actually, we need to this recorded version of this session. If is it possible, please send to our nodal officer. Is it possible?
The recorded video will be shared with you, and it will be shared. The link will be shared, and the video will be saved on the cloud. So you will be able to access the video by clicking on
Sorry,
that.
sorry. Actually, your voice is not clear to us. Please.
Actually, I'm able to get you. Would you please speak by coming little bit near to the microphone?
Please continue.
I'm just saying that would you please come little bit near to the microphone so that I can hear you properly, ma'am. Video and the recorded section will be provided to you, and even in the summary mail, the data needs to be collected to initiate the system will be sent to all the institutions
Okay.
along with the user guide as well to
Okay.
initiate the system. Basically, the system will be implemented in the phases, and for each and every phase, user guides will be provided to each and every institution along with the sheets sheets in which the data need to be captured to initiate the system, initiate the implementation of.
Okay,
Yeah.
actually,
Can,
the video is not so clear to us. Actually, that's why we are questioned for this recorded version.
Don't worry, ma'am. The video and the user guides will be provided to you.
Okay, thank you so much.
excuse me, can we upload the data in bulk manner by uploading the Excel
Yes,
sheet?
we can. Yes, we can just upload the data in the bulk manner. Even if you want
Okay.
to upload your complete budget with the approved status, then it can be done as well.
Then please share the template of this Excel sheets. We can share the
So,
data.
sure. Those templates are available within the system even, and we will be sharing those templates separately with you as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any another question from any respected higher education institution? Mamta, I think Mamta, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. Sir, I
Would you
think there are no further questions. So shall
Yes.
we conclude the session then?
Yes, we can conclude from my side, and if there is still another question, then institution can write to us.
Yes. If any university has any questions, they can just mail it to us and we'll address those queries there. For now, we can conclude the session. Thank you all for joining. Thank you.
Thank you for your participation and valuable time. Thank you.
Hello, Sahil sir.
Yes, we can just
So can
conclude
you?
it. Sorry?
Okay, sir. Okay. All right. Thank you.